Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and I am participating in a Fall Leaves Challenge hosted by Brenda at Rustic and Lace DIY and a guest host that I will put onto the screen now. As many of you know, I moved this summer and I had to film quite a few videos ahead of time. This is one of them. But thankfully, with the theme Fall Leaves, I was able to pull out my Autumn Harvest collection, which came out for Fall 2023. Our Fall 2024 collection should be just about to release. And, it's nice to revisit the ones that we had before as well. So I picked one of my sketches from our 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. We are going to be working from page 50, and I was kind of on fumes with this collection a little bit, so we're going to be working with a lot of vellum. So we're going to get some interesting tips and tricks this time using some vellum. Page 50 has our really, really pretty snowflake frame punch, and the pattern on this punch, I want to turn up my lights a little bit so you can see the way the pattern is on this punch. They were able to punch all the way through the edge of the frame, so they had a 10-inch piece of designer paper and an 8-inch piece of designer paper, and they cut off the edge here of part of the snowflakes, but it didn't really matter as much. With my interpretation using our Fall Leaves Challenge, I picked our Spring Leaves frame punch. And with our punches, the frame punches are a little bit different than our traditional border punches because they're designed to be used in 2-inch increments in order to create the frames. We have a silver line here, which is where we line up our paper, versus the black lines we traditionally line up with for our borders that we do. So something to keep in mind when you're doing your frame versus your border, if you do use one of our frame punches, it will say on the box, frame punch. We have a few of them available, and I picked spring leaf because I thought, these aren't just spring leaves, these are leaves. And they look just as pretty on my fall leaf page as they did with our birds and blossoms spring pages. Now, if you'll remember from my intro, I am on fumes a bit with this collection. So I pulled out a piece of our crimson cardstock for the left side of my layout and a pumpkin piece for my right. And you can see we're going to actually work on the right side first. I traditionally do the left side and then the right side, but with this one, I knew I couldn't put this up in the front of my desk, and I figured, let's go for it. I'm going to show you all the frame part first, and then you're going to see what I've paired it with. Well, you can see a little bit, but that's okay. So, okay. And now you see why I told you about the snowflakes, right? Because traditionally, at the end, we get these little squares that come off of our ends from when we have our frame punch, because it makes these pretty, pretty corners. And so your next punch would be down here. It actually makes the page a little bit smaller as you go, because you would traditionally put another leaf coming out from here. Well, I didn't really want to have just part of a leaf because I didn't think it would look right. Like the snowflakes looked fine. So what I opted to do is we're actually leaving our pointed edge here at the bottom, but I've rounded and softened our corners because all of our leaves have these softer lines to them. What I did was I pulled out my handy dandy corner rounder. I took this edge here that goes towards the leaf. I lined it up as best I can in my corner rounder, and then just punch, and you can see we get this really nice little softened edge here. We are going to line it up with the lines of the cardstock, so it's okay that we have that straight edge here. This is my 10-inch piece of vellum that has the grid on it, is the one that's going to be our layering piece. And I am going to grab my vellum tape runner here because it is worth getting the vellum tape runner for use with all of this vellum. And if you're curious about how it stacks up compared to our traditional tape runners, I do have a short that shows that one. One of the things I might not have shown in the short is that you do need to burnish your tape once it's on your page. I didn't really put any tape up by my leaf punch outs, if you will. I just put it on this main part of the body of the layout. Here's my bone folder I'm using for burnishing. And then you can see where it essentially helps the tape to disappear behind the vellum. You can use your multi-purpose tool if that's what you have to do the burnishing. I just find that the bone folder is a little bit stronger and quicker. All right, so that first piece is down and burnished, and now I have a piece of our red vellum here. It does have that crimson tone to it. I've rounded the interior corners with my corner rounder, as you can see. And we're going to line this one up at this bottom edge coming in on our page. And with the red, I just it's harder to see the tape runner through it. So I just ran my bone folder over the main parts of the vellum because it's much harder than with this lighter one to see the actual tape runner through it. So that's the base of our page on this right-hand side. I do still have a few embellishments from our embellishment pack. I do know that this sold out, and I try not to show things that are sold out. You can definitely use stickers from the sticker collection as well with these pages, but I wanted to give some ideas with embellishments if people still have some of them around in their collections. We're going to pop up our leaves here and our little autumn. Autumn shows us how beautiful it is to let things go. I'm going to grab my foam tape for this. Just finding it's a lot quicker and easier with these larger embellishments to do it this way. All right. And I just loved that this embellishment had all the colors that are running through both of our pages on it. The fall leaves work with our leaves from our punch, as you can see. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that the spring leaf versus fall leaf thing really matters as much. And you can see these leaf shapes have different shapes, and these ones have different shapes, and it all works. I'm going to use a little bit of traditional tape runner on our embellishment here to make sure it sticks down nicely. What I would do here is I would take our circle cutter or one of our custom cutting system circles, to put a photo in this wreath here. So I think this would be a really pretty photo of either a tree that's changing in the fall, or maybe a visit even at Thanksgiving of, maybe you can put up like a pie picture up in here. But you can also fit a photo here. You can fit one either vertically or horizontally. You can fit one over here. You can just have one nicely framed out with our leaves here at this bottom corner going either direction as well. So there's definitely options that you can do on this side of the page. And our sketch did show some suggestions for smaller photos, but a 3.5 on the 3.5 inch photo that they recommend are really small, and I tend to like larger photos. If they print out 4x6, I want the option to use the entire 4x6 on my page. So I will share with you all those options as I design the pages. And we'll see both of these together in just a moment. I'm pulling in my crimson cardstock for the left side of my page. When I did my punching from the red vellum, I had a strip here. This is 5/8 of an inch by 12 inches. And I just went with the size it came. If you have 1/4 of an inch, if you have a 1/2 inch, if you have 3/4, you can go with that too. I love using up scraps, and you can easily adapt what I am doing to pretty much any size you have. I also am using the brown leaf vellum as well. And this one is 3.5 by 6.25. Again, it was another scrap. And I think this one has a little bit more of a side up to it than some of our other vellums, where you can see the design, the white kind of leaves a little bit more than on the other side. I'm going to put this close to the edges here. Grab my bone folder again. And this one I could see a little bit more on this side. So I went ahead and turned my paper while I was burnishing. I'm going to leave that with my foam tape just in case I need it again. Actually, I do, because my mats, I have one traditional mat, but then I also have our gorgeous tree embellishment that I've been dying to use on a page, but I hadn't yet, in part because of the sellout so quickly. And I thought, you know what, people probably have these things in their stash. Let me give an extra idea. Or you can take our brand new fall collection that's going to come out and do something similar with it, and just replace the vellum with traditional mats, or however you want yours to come together. So I have 3 4x6 mats for this side of the page. I have the one with the wreath on it that's going to go down here in this bottom corner, and it is going to overlap our vellum just a little bit, not much. And then I have 2 more of the white leaf on the kind of beigeish background, if you will. One's going to go up in the corner, and one is going to go up here. So I need to wait to put those on. That's where we're foam squaring our fall leaves there. So if I can bring this down and in a little bit more, that gives me more space to place my leaves over. And, you know, honestly, this little edge of most of our photos is sky or background wall behind somebody's head or something along those lines, if you have Thanksgiving photos you're going to do. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and get the regular tape runner on. As you can see, I did pull the side that has the leaf and wreath colors that match the embellishment that we used on the opposite side of the page. So we have that extra little cohesion, and it also matches the colors in our embellishment as well. Let me flip these, get them stuck down, and they already flipped. So like I said, you can kind of tell there's an upside to this leaf one. I did place my mats about 3/4 of an inch down on the page. There's about a 1/2 inch in between them, and there's about a 1/2 inch in between these two as well. Let me get my foam tape again for this. Grabbing the wrong thing out of my little holder. I almost grabbed my multi-purpose tool, not my scissors, my microtip scissors. Okay, let me get down this embellishment next. So I foam squared our leaves in that top corner with our foam tape, and then I'm going to use my repositionable tape to put down our tree here. And I am placing the tree down a little bit lower so it looks like the roots are in our red vellum here, which almost looks like dirt, I guess, if you will. And then the brown is behind it, but I don't know, it just helps the whole thing pop, I think. It just gives it a little extra definition and dimension to our layout here. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? And here are our 2 pages together. Let me know how you think I did based on our sketch. I turned it into 2 pages for you all. I do find that we use more double page layouts in our scrapbook than the singles. But this could be a front or back page in your book as well if you want to go that route. There was our sketch again. All right, let's put together a card. That's the other thing I've been challenging myself with this 101 scrapbooking ideas and sketchbook challenge is to do a card with each layout, and then challenging myself to make a lot of these single layouts into double layouts using larger photos. So it's been a fun year so far. We still have a few more to go. For our card, I pulled out one of our blank cards from our card kit. I do have a little bit more vellum that we're going to be using. I have a plaid piece that is 1.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And like I said, working with what I had left here from my vellum scraps after putting the layout together. I thought this was going to look nice together as well. And then we have one with the white leaves on the brown kind of craft paper look. And I'm going to put just the ever slightest amount of repositionable tape along the edges because, as you all know, I do like to reinforce the edges of my card. So it's there. Oops, I don't know if you can see the little dots. I'm going to burnish that as well with the vellum, but honestly, to get the vellum stuck down, use the vellum tape burner. Oops. Here we go. It's kind of hard because this is a little bit see-through and I'm seeing my card through it. Yep. I thought I was going crooked. Here we go. Okay, well, maybe my vellum is cut a little bit crooked, so you know what? We're going to take our scissors and fix that. I had to change my mat on my trimmer for doing some of the vellum, and I didn't realize it until a little bit after, so this might have been one of my early cuts. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my scissors and cut around the back side here, just cleaning things up since the vellum is a little bit see-through, and it's about 1/8 of an inch that we're taking off here. I lost part of it. Here we go. That's interesting. Okay. And that is something that if you haven't been watching my What is Scrapbooking series on Tuesdays to know about the strip you can change out on your paper trimmer or our 12-inch trimmer, is a talk all about the trimmer, and I will show you exactly what I am talking about in that video. Now, for our card, I have a couple of embellishments and a couple of stickers. So I have a wood heart that we're going to add to our wood cut piece that has the acorns on it. I have our wreath from our sticker set, and I have a little Let This House Be Full of Thanks and Giving that I thought would be a really cute Thanksgiving card to send to somebody. We're going to put this heart up here in the corner. Just add a little accent color that's going to go with our leaves that are going to wind up in our bottom corner. Let me get my regular tape runner here. So you can see I went over just a little bit, and this can just fold into the corner here. Let me make sure my placement on this one is going to fit this. Oops, nope, I do need to go over just a little bit more and up and over. Okay, so this is going up in this corner. We're going to see just ever so slight amount of the plaid, but we are going to line up at the top of the page. Actually, we should probably go with the little bit of a seam of the plaid that we can see through the leaves. There we go. So that way it's lined up. You can see where we overlaid the leaves over the plaid, and you can see that a little bit through because it's vellum, and then I just lined up my corner with that corner going up and through our card. And then this one is going to go right around. Ooh, you know what? This needs to be over, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Okay, so hang on one moment here. Looking at my notes, but I put this together a little bit ago. So I'm just lifting that up with my multi-purpose tool because this is going to tuck under, because of course we want to read our saying, but I know this is going to tuck under here as well. So we are going to put some tape runner on to our wreath here. Just a little bit of repositionable to the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my sticker off of its backing. And we are going to get some placement here, underneath here. I'm not going to push it down, but I just need to get it placed so I can slide this under as well. Usually I don't do this big of a cluster on a card, but I just thought it just worked with this card, and it looks so pretty with all the fall colors. I want to get that in just a little bit further. There we go. Use my multi-purpose tool to help me. So I've got just those 2 red leaves showing coming out of underneath our parts here. There we go. Oops. Okay. Now we can stick it all down. But I just thought it made for a really pretty Thanksgiving card with our extra wreath and then our extra heart. You know, I'm going to pull my multi-purpose tool again because originally I thought I was going to do a dead center. Actually, I think we probably will. But this lets me maneuver the sticker around without having it stick. And we're going to just go ahead and place this in the center of the tree. So we have the repeating hearts, we have the repeating red with the leaves going down through our card. It just makes it an interesting, appealing card to our eye as well with the colors. And I usually try to talk y'all through how I have designed it with my thought process and using the scraps. So there we go. Wouldn't you love to get a card like that for Thanksgiving, especially if you were hosting Thanksgiving? We can give it to our host with some flowers or a centerpiece maybe, or if we're bringing that pie, I think they would really enjoy that. Thank you so much again to Brenda at Rustic and Lace DIY and our guest host for hosting this fall leaf challenge. I hope you all really enjoyed seeing my interpretation of this sketch and maybe giving you an idea of a card you can give to a friend at Thanksgiving who might be hosting you. Until next time.